Hello everybody. Welcome to the world's first game review on this channel. And this is kind of like a new series I wanted to kind of do because I thought it'd be cool to, instead of just doing the gameplay videos, to also do some, reviewing of these games to help if you're deciding you want to play the games that I'm playing. You can, give my opinion on it. And yesterday, I played this game called Finding Frankie, which sounds kind of silly, I know. It's this like mascot horror game, like Five Nights at Freddy's is the best example, I guess. But more like Security Breach because, if you're familiar with Security Breach, it isn't the best game. But yeah, so basically you're in this you get the cereal box or something. I wasn't really paying attention to, if you watch the video, which is up on the main channel right now. I wasn't really paying attention to the story, but looking back, you get this cereal box or whatever, and then inside of it's this VHS tape, and you put it in, and you are invited to this Parkour palace where they do a game show or whatever, but they actually kill people, and it's evil, and they're live streaming it. And people just watching you die while watching other people die, because you don't die, and you get to the end, and then he gets all mad, and then stuff happens. And Squid Games. Yeah. So that's basically what happens. That's like the story and stuff. And oh yeah, spoilers. I forgot to put that in there. Yeah, spoilers. So I'm gonna do kind of like a likes and dislikes thing, and yeah, that's kind of it right there. And there's a lot more dislikes than likes, but I don't think the game was necessarily like bad. It just, there was a lot of stuff which weren't, that good. And I'm going to give completely constructive criticism here. The works. And we're going to start with number one, which is the final boss fight, going right to the end. And it was just like, at that point, I felt like the game wasn't trying to be scary anymore. And it was almost trying to be funny in a way. Because, like, the whole ending with these, with the little guys that explode in the trampoline room. They falling from the sky or whatever. And him on the screen, and he gets censored or whatever. In the epic boss battle music, I just feel like it isn't trying to be scary at this point. You know what I mean? It's like trying to be kind of humorous in a way, which is not, it kind of took me out of it, because if you watch the video, I was scared out of my shorts the whole time. But I just didn't really feel that anymore after I saw him on the TV. The only parts that scared me were him jumping on my head, and then I'm stressed because I don't want to start the whole 3 minutes or whatever it was all over again. Next up, we have the Henry boss fight, which was the telephone guy. That was so annoying. I cut it out in my video. If you watch the video up on the main channel right now, you would know that it's well, you wouldn't know because I cut it out, that what I had to do is I had to run back and forth, basically. I didn't have to run back and forth. I'm just a little wuss. In this very dark room, flicking these, phones or something. I don't know. I was too scared to look. I think they're phones in the recording. And the room was very dark. And, the only notice that I had that he was gonna be there was these really loud footsteps that would only play when he's really, really close to you, the phone guy or whatever. Yeah, laugh it up. I know, phone guy. Like, and as soon as you heard it, it was like over, basically. Like, you had to. Basically, you had no idea that he was going to be there because he would just appear and you'd just have no time to react, and he is faster than you or whatever. And it was just very annoying to the point where the actual strategy of the whole boss fight or whatever was just to. It wasn't really a boss fight, it was more like a challenge thing. Was to run back and forth between these 6 things, hoping that he isn't going to be there. And it was just very annoying. Next up, the little opening thing, like, where he comes out, and it says, like, meet your friend or whatever, and he just comes out in front of you. And then you have, like, no idea. There's no direction on where to go. I cut it out, in the main video up on the main channel right now, whatever. But in the, like, okay, I tried like every way possible to get out because my last thought is to run straight towards the monster and go behind him, because that's just silly and doesn't make any sense at all. And like when you start out, you start in this like room with this like door in front of you. Like, how did I get there? First of all, like, none of it makes any sense. And what I just really didn't like, probably just because it made me frustrated, but I just didn't like the whole, you have to run straight towards the big monster. Like, I'm a wuss. That's not my first idea. Is that I'm gonna go up there and just run behind him. Like, that's silly. Another thing I didn't really like was the saw blade room, where this stuff was coming at you and like the saw blades were behind you or whatever. And like, it was just like, what was going on? Like, at that point, I felt like these timer like little mini games were just padding the game so you couldn't refund it. But even at the end, the game barely scraped an hour long. Like, I just didn't get it. I felt like it was just like making it longer for no reason, these boring rooms. And it was so easy just to stand in between the two things and just go back and forth because, they're coming out or whatever, and you could just dodge it by moving. Like, it just didn't make any sense to me. Like, what am I doing? Like, I get it's supposed to be like, oh, it's like a parkour challenge, I guess. But like, it doesn't really, it didn't, I felt like it just didn't fit at all. This is a little nitpicky. I'm getting really nitpicky. But like, every single room just didn't really make sense. Like, most of the rooms. Like, these big, like, ginormous, like the mountain at the end in the duck room or whatever it was. These huge rooms just really, they just didn't make any sense to me. And I get it, it's a little nitpicky. It's a game. But I don't know. I feel like I'm nitpicking a bit much. But, I'll put examples on the screen of some weird looking rooms. Like, rooms that didn't really make any sense. And yeah. Here is getting into some crazy stuff. I'm going to group these together. The trampoline room and the water park room. Like, that's where I understood they were trying to just make the game longer. And they didn't really have anything for the game. These 2 rooms were just trial and error, kind of like getting over it, like rage rooms, basically. Rooms that were like just there to be like hard to beat and like really, really specific and under stress, and there's a timer. And if it goes out, you have to start all the way over again. That's when I realized, like, they were running out of stuff, and that this is just to make it so that you can't pay the money and then just get your refund in there. It is a little disappointing, because I'll get to that later, you know what I mean? Next up, I have the invisible walls, which were everywhere. Like, if I thought I could go somewhere, no. There's an invisible wall in the way. For no reason sometimes, too. Like, and it's a really big problem in these big open rooms that I was talking about earlier. Like, they make these huge big set pieces, but they didn't really take the time to put in a barrier. So, like, I feel like when there's invisible walls in games, it's just to compensate for their laziness. Like, they could put something in the way, like boxes or something, do the same thing as like an invisible wall, or like some actual realistic thing other than an completely invisible wall where you can see right through it. Just put a real wall there, like, you know. Yeah, it just makes me annoyed because it's like, even though the game it's like feels like there's quite a bit of like thought into the story. At least I don't know about the gameplay so much, but there's like, it just feels a little lazy, like they could have done more. Here's another, I don't know if this is really nitpicky or whatever, but I thought the parkour, which is the main focus of the game, was really slippery and really janky. Sorry, a little tired. A little janky, which is not very good when the game is meant to be, a parkour game. I didn't think the game was really that scary. I am a big wuss, and I, get scared very easily and very frightened and very on edge very, very easily. But I felt like after watching my own video, which is up on the main channel right now if you want to go watch it, link in description. I feel like after watching it, it was like, this isn't really a scary video. I found myself to be kind of silly, thinking that was scary in the moment. Because, you know what? It was just, especially more towards the end, I felt like they kind of lost their grip on the scare factor of it. And even I, a big wuss playing it, was feeling more and more kind of like acquainted to the scares and the monsters and stuff, where even when the guy's telephone head exploded, like, I had no reaction to it because it was just kind of like, oh, you know what I mean? I thought the final section of the game, not the hexagon one, the one before that, the one final challenge or whatever it popped up on my screen with, I first tried that and I did not find it to be difficult. I just thought it was easy, and for a final like big mountain thing, like, I expected a greater challenge. Okay, now on to the likes. I really like the concept of the game. I thought the premise of, contest, season, Squid Games, death, game show, parkour was awesome. It sounded great. That's why I played it in the first place. Other than me seeing a ton of people playing it a while ago, like 2 months ago. I was like, wow, this game it just sounds cool. Like, so I picked it up and it was like, whoa. And it was kind of a letdown because, it sounds great on the description and the trailer where, they pick out the best parts. The game was kind of entertaining. Yeah, I just thought the game was kind of, I actually felt inclined to beat the game, and I actually thought, well, I'm thinking, when the next season chapter comes out or whatever, I'm definitely gonna play it again. I'm gonna play through the whole game again, and I'll play the second one. I'm gonna keep my eye on the game because the concept is definitely great, and you learn from your mistakes, and the game's gonna get, even better, I hope. You know what I mean? So I'm excited for the next season, because I know, I like the concept, and I know that, well, I hope that they learn, I've said all this before. I'm repeating myself. You get with the point if you watched all the way. My final score for this game, 4 out of 10 little splody guys. I found the concept to be really intriguing of this game, and I will definitely be looking out for the next season. But yeah, thank you for watching the first game review. See you another time for the next video on a different game, of course. Yeah, bye.